Welcome back to another episode of Farming Simulator 2013. We're playing on the Two Rivers map. And meanwhile, back on the farm, you'll remember that in the last episode, we harvested all of our crops. And then we started to reseed. We reseeded 8, 9, 10, 12. And then offline, I completed 15, 35, 37, and 36. Now, all of these have been planted in canola. And the reason we did that is because if we look at our PDA and prices, we have in 1 day, 9 hours, a great demand for canola at the freight depot. And then 2 days from now, we have one for barley, and 3 days, one for wheat. And we're going to attempt to go ahead and harvest canola, plant barley, harvest that, plant wheat, harvest that, and hit all three of those great demands. That should give us quite a bit of operating money, hopefully, if we do everything correctly. And we can start that by speeding up time. As you can see, we're still waiting for crops to ripen. So we'll speed up time a little bit. And let's run out to one of our fields. Let's see, back here. Noisy pigs. Why are you so noisy at this time of night? Okay. And we'll take a look at this field. It's coming right along. Green, green, green. And canola looks pretty good. Okay, it's just a waiting game now. I suppose what we could do is we can pop in our John Deere harvester, line it up and get it ready. I was wondering if I was going to be able to harvest in the daylight, and it looks like we're going to. I just don't like harvesting at night. Now it's going to be a guess as to which one. Now we planted field number 8 first, and you'd think in the real world that one would ripen first. I'm not entirely sure if that's the way it works. We will find out. And it's coming on 7 o'clock. I brought my breakfast with me. It's here in the combine. You know, growing up on a farm, you know, we didn't have wheat, but I did work in wheat when I got a little bit older. I spent some time at my brother's house, and he lived in wheat country. And I never drove a combine, but I did drive a truck. And I pulled a combine. There was an older gentleman that had, well, what you would consider antique equipment, I guess. He had equipment that was drawn by a tractor. The harvester was drawn by a tractor, wasn't self-propelled, and it was completely open, and he stood up there like the captain of a ship and controlled the headers. The land that he had was in some places pretty hilly, and he did not use a tractor. He used a D6 cat, and he hired me one summer to drive the cat and pull the combine. Oh, what a dirty job! Because the cat was, you know, open too. It wasn't. There was no closed cab. It was an open cab, and so, you know, dirt's just flying everywhere. By the time you got done, you had to take 2, 3 showers to be clean. But it was fun. And the thing that I remember the most about that kind of farming was the food. They would hire a couple of cooks from town, and they would prepare the meals, and they were huge because you worked from the first light in the morning to the last light at night. That's what you did. And boy, was it good to stop and have a meal. Okay, we're getting close. As you can see, it's dark green, or dark blue, I should say, which means it's getting ready to ripen. Let's see, let's go down while we're waiting and pick up a tractor and a trailer. We are going to need that. All right, haul this thing up to that field. Get ready for the big harvest day. In the last episode, I played around a little bit with speeding time up on seeding that last field, and I think it worked pretty good. All right, we're ripe. Let's take time back to normal. Jump in the combine. Lower the header. Open up the combine, and we're off. Now, hopefully, the first goal. I have a couple goals in this map. One is to purchase the fields. And the other one is to increase the amount of equipment. I can't wait to get another combine or two so that we can harvest these fields a little bit quicker. It will help the viewing a lot, because with one combine it gets a little boring waiting for a field to be harvested. So that was one of the reasons why I tried that speeding up of time in the last one. So those are the two goals. The one thing I wanted to do in this Let's Play was to play this particular map, because it was not one of those maps. It was just fields, open, nothing in between. I've been playing a new map on my own called Idaho, based on the state of Idaho in the United States. It's a lot of fun. There's another one also that I've been playing that's it's based on the American DLC, or the DLC that came out that was supposedly in the United States. They reconstructed that map, and they took all the US flags down and put Canadian flags up. But the map is similar, but they did arrange all the fields differently. They've cut some up and they've expanded some, and it's quite different. But it's another map with great big fields, and that's been a lot of fun to play too. I've been playing that a lot, actually. It's that shadow. Let's get out of this combine and look around. Oh, a hot air balloon. Cool. I used to play a map called Big Tony's. Very computer intensive. It's takes a lot of computer power to run. It's high definition, and he's got a lot of things added to it. But some of the things that he had added were hot air balloons, helicopters, those kinds of things. You'll be out working in the field and a helicopter will fly over. And That's kind of cool. It was fun to play, but like I say, it was pretty CPU intensive. Let's just check and see currently what the canola prices are. Okay, so canola at the freight depot, 10,000 or 1,012, 12,015 at the oil mill, 881 at the market. So I'm thinking that 1215, if we hit a great demand, and it's not really telling us what that great demand is, I'm hoping it's close to double the price. It'll be interesting to find out what it's going to be. Sometimes it's 1.5 times the price. Sometimes it's twice the price. That's going to be a pretty good price for canola. So I want to get this stuff in the silos and ready for that sale. Okay, let's get this tractor lined up here. Now, I don't think I have a route set up for field number 8. Don't believe I do. Let's take a look. No, I don't. There's field 10 and field 37, field 9 and 12. Okay, so we need to set up a route. First of all, we're going to set up a combine route. And there's the field. And you know what? I'm so used to setting those field work ones up. That's not what I'm doing. This one involves a little bit of driving. So let's let's dump this. Reset the course. Alright, we're gonna do a manual. I've made so many of those other courses, fieldwork courses, I just automatically started working on that. This one we have to drive. I'm lost. Scratch that. Reset. Shook myself up. And let's start again. Turn that off. Okay, let's line this up. I'm going to do a combine course. Start course recording. Okay, make a gentle turn. And let's head back to the farm. And I think the best way is to go in through the front door. So we'll follow this road. Follow the yellow-gray road. Thank God there's no traffic coming up this hill. I was playing one map one time and the traffic was so bad. The AI traffic from the game was so bad that I went and downloaded a mod of these great big cement things and planted them in the middle of the road so that that would stop the cars. Certain places on the map you'd see 5 or 6 cars all bumper to bumper lined up behind one of these big pieces of cement, these blockades. Nah, cheated a little bit. Went cross country there. Okay, sneak up behind this start sign. And we'll stop it there. Save the course. We're going to call it field number 8. Alrighty, and drive the course. Okay, let's see. John Deere. That canola is really compact. It takes a lot to fill up a trailer. That whole combine, it wasn't quite full, but it only filled 30% of the trailer. But it sells for a pretty good price. There's a lot of people need that canola oil. I don't know whether I've mentioned, but I use a Logitech rumble pad for driving and running the equipment. I find it a lot easier than using a keyboard. And your fingers, when you're running a keyboard, get a little tired after a while. And it's going to be a little bit different. We're going to we're not going to buy any equipment this time, so we want to keep the harvest in the silo and wait for that great demand. Normally, at this stage in the game, I need equipment badly, so I would normally sell the crops right away and not stockpile them and buy equipment. But I want that great demand, so we're going to stockpile some crop before we sell. Those trees there look pretty cool, but if you get off and run over to the edge of the tree line, you find out that it is actually the edge of the tree line. That's kind of cool. I mean, it looks good from a distance. I think in a tractor you can actually sometimes see through it. That's a pretty cool way to do that. Because it sure looks like you see the hills and stuff in the background. Let's see if we can get up in the air here. Drive over there with a tractor. Uh-oh. Combine stuck. Maybe we can see it from the combine. Yeah, you can kind of see it's just kind of a straight line there. Okay, let's get him unstuck. I don't know if that little strip there is even worth harvesting, but we got to drive that way anyway, so we'll just let him go. Okay, so we're about ready to get to the next field. I don't think we're gonna need the tractor here. I can't remember if this particular model of this John Deere that I got, you'll notice that there's a little gas pedal down there, that little orange or red pedal. And the clutch comes out, gas goes down, and off you go. And there's a little bit of activity in the dashboard. And see, the brakes work, clutch goes in. The other thing that's kind of interesting is, and I can't remember if this one does it, but I do have a couple other models of John Deere tractors similar to this one, that when it rains, the windshield wipers work, and that's kind of cool. Okay, let's reset this course, and we're going to go to field number 9, and get this one ready. It's kind of good that we've planted all fields with canola, and I don't have to worry about dumping this load out of this combine before I start the next field harvesting, so speed things up a little bit. I don't have to track down the truck and trailer, tractor and trailer. And I think I've said this before, in most of the wheat country where I live, we use trucks in the fields instead of tractors and trailers. There's a truck that comes alongside the combine. And at one time when I was in college, I drove long haul truck. I'd gotten my what used to be called a chauffeur's license to drive a 18-wheeler. And one summer in between school, I drove truck in the fields, and they were harvesting corn, and I actually drove a semi truck to collect the corn and take it to the processing plant. Can't remember where the course starts on this. We shall soon find out. I thought it started over here. That's why I didn't want to run the tractor in here right away. I wanted the combine to come through first and do its thing. Now, if you've watched any of my previous episodes, when I first started this series, I had an older version of the program called, or a mod called Inspector. And if you look up here, it tells me that I'm driving a John Deere wet model, what I'm pulling. I'm pulling a BBS crampy trailer, and the trailer has canola in it and how much it has in it. This is a little bit different. It's more information than I used to have on the old version. The only thing I do miss about the old version, there were colors. When you got halfway full, your combine, it would be a yellow color, and when it was getting full that it needed to be emptied, it would turn red. When it was empty, it would be green. Now, I do have the capability of changing it from white to black. And I don't know, the white's a little easier to read for me. And then you can also reduce some of the information. Like that just tells me that I'm driving, what tractor I'm driving and how much I've got in it. It deletes what it is that you've got attached to the tractor. And then you can take it completely off, which is kind of handy. I like to clear some of the HUD off, so sometimes I always turn this one off, unless I'm driving a rig that I can't remember what the controls do. That doesn't seem to bother me too much there. I can't wait to get new equipment. I decide what I'm going to get for a combine. I have not a lot of choices, but I've got a few. I'm going to have to go out and look at some new mods. Let's see, for combines, I've got, of course, the old the old Dutes in the different variations. There's the new that came with the DLC, the case. I like that one, the quad track. Okay, and then for mods, I have, not tractors, sorry, harvesters. There's the old-fashioned far, that you pull with the tractor. And let's see, I've got this Boss Matador. It's kind of old school. I did download Fendt harvesters. I've actually never used these. Might have to try that in one field. There is a version of those, of this bent that's all black. And I would think that in the middle of the summertime harvesting, or late, late summer, early fall, a black combine would be really hot. There's a John Deere with dual wheels. I think you have to kind of buy the wheels. And then there is the 36-inch track one. And there's one with dual wheels. I don't remember where the one is. Let's see here. Okay, now that track one's the one I own. There's a dual wheel one. And then there's one that you can change into a dual wheel one. Is that a different model number? 80. And then I have the Kloss Lexion TerraTrack. I have used that one quite a little bit before I got the John Deere. This John Deere is an older model, the 9770 STS. And it's a monster. It's bigger than the one I'm driving. But it doesn't hold as much grain, and it's got a little different sound to it than the one I'm using. The one I'm using is so quiet. Now you can see the harvest of canola. Now granted, field number 8 is not very large. Number 9's a pretty good size one. We'll see. But we've got all of field 8 and about a third of field 9, and we still haven't even, we're only halfway full on this trailer. You don't get a lot of crop with canola, so it's a good thing that it sells for such a high price. And while we're waiting for this to unload, let's jump over to our other tractor, get it started up, and we'll get to cultivating that field and get it ready for reseeding. Now, I bought this seeder here, this red seeder. I bought that to be prepared for sugar beets and corn. I can do corn because I do have a corn header, but it's going to be a while before I can do sugar beets because the equipment is so expensive. Oh, what am I doing? I don't want to seed. I want to cultivate. And yes, I can chew gum and talk at the same time, but not very well. All right, here we go. Field number 8, we're on our way. One of the things I need to find out on this map, you know, we took a tour the other day, and one of the things that I didn't remember seeing was the freight yard. Looking at the map, I remember we found the horse stables, and we know where the cattle are and the sheep. We found the marketplace, I'm pretty sure. We know where the mill, the two mills, the oil mill, the canola mill, and the brewery are, but I don't remember seeing the train depot. I'm assuming that it's, well, I shouldn't assume. I should just go find it. I'm just thinking that it's to the west. I'm not quite sure on which side of the river, though. We'll have to go travel and find out where the train depot's at. Eventually, we're going to have stuff to sell there. Now, it's not very handy yet, but I did install a mod recently that controls your equipment. So it sorts it into groups. Let's turn that off. So it's a vehicle grouping system or switcher. And so right now I don't have any unassigned equipment. Down here you would see any piece of equipment that I had. Now this is driving equipment. It doesn't list trailers and those kinds of things. It would just be tractors and combines, automobiles if you had them, trucks, those kinds of things. And you can actually group them up. Now where this comes in handy is I do have a map that I play offline that I've got 8 combines going at any one time. Well, with each combine, you've got a trailer following behind it. So I can group those. I can put all the combines in one group. I can put all the trailers that are behind the combines in another group. And any tractors that I have that I'm plowing with or you know, clearing the fields with, cultivating, I can put that in another group. If I have a semi-truck and a large trailer that I'm selling crop with, I can put that in another group. I have what I call a service group, because in this particular map I have a Jeep that has a mobile gas tank that it pulls behind it, and so I can go out and fuel my rigs, and I would consider that a service vehicle. But I also include in that anything that I'm doing. I have a couple of the crones that I chaff corn with, and so I'll put those in there. If I have balers and windrows, anything I'm doing baling work, I can group, and it makes it kind of easy. Once you assign those, you just go to the piece, tell it which group you want it to be in, and then you turn this off. This is your master control, your menu. Turn that off, and then if you hit control, it brings it up, and you can set a hotkey that'll go between the tractors in that group or whatever's in that group. With the hotkey, you can quickly go from, without having to go from piece to piece to piece to piece to piece. And it's really kind of handy on a large map. Now I have a gaming keyboard. I've got a Logitech gaming keyboard, and so I can program keys. And I've got several keys programmed for these. So if I want tractors, I just hit key number 1, and boom, it goes to tractors. And if I just keep hitting it, it'll go between the tractors. Number 2 is combines. Now in this case, I only have 1. So I can keep hitting it, and it's just going to always go to that one. But I've got 10 keys set up for that, so I can quickly go just by hitting one key. I don't have to hit Control and a hotkey. Fancy. I like playing games so much, and I've always been a geek and a gamer. I started playing European Truck Simulator 2, and it was so much fun. Within a couple of days, I bought the Logitech wheel and gas and pedal peripheral, and it just really improved the gameplay. You've got a gear shift knob, and you can actually shift into gears, and it's a lot easier to drive than using a keyboard. You know, the WADS keys to drive a semi was a little bit awkward, if you will. I do have track IR too, so I can whenever I move my head, it moves the screen, so I can pan around just by turning my head left and right, up and down, forward and backward. If you sit forward, it zooms in. You sit back, it zooms out. If you don't know what track IR is, you can Google it, but it has what amounts to a miniature webcam, and you have a piece that goes on your head. You can either put it on a baseball cap, or you can clip it onto a boom. If you have a headset with a mic boom, there's a boom clip that you can clip it on, and then it tracks that movement of whatever, however you're moving your head. Really comes in handy if you're playing games like Flight Simulator, where you can look around by just moving your head. The truck driving one works really well because you can pull up to a stop sign, just turn your head, look out the left window, and turn your head right, look out the right window, and it's a lot easier than having to do that with a keyboard. And other games I've seen it used for are some of the combat games, where you're out and you've got a rifle, and you can move your head to look around instead of having to drop your rifle hand and look around. It's pretty neat. Excuse me. It's a pretty neat piece of equipment. And let's take a look, see how we're doing here. Now, this is kind of what I was talking about. I have to remember to save. One day I'm sitting here playing. I played for about an hour and forgot to save, and I shut the game off. But as you can see, we're almost 45 minutes into this episode, and I haven't even finished 2 fields. At this point in a Let's Play, with such limited amount of equipment, it takes so long to harvest. So I think what I'll do is call this an episode, and I'll do a little bit more work on my own offline. I don't think I'm going to do it all this time. I'll do a couple of fields, and when I come back, we'll finish off some fields and get this crop to harvest. And I hope you all have a very good day.